Hey, how's it going guys? Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to kill blue dragons, but before I start this video, if you're looking for more Slayer guides, please check out the description box below for a full list of all the guides I have posted thus far. Enjoy the rest of the video. So using one of my Slayer guides is very simple. All you need to do is select the armor that you want to wear depending on the attack style that you want to use, and then just pick the location for where you want to kill the monsters. So you can pause the video now to write down the timestamps, and then you can skip around the video to watch the parts that you want to watch. So let's first go over some basic information about this monster, and I'll walk you through the chart so you can be more prepared for your Slayer task. First of all, blue dragons are combat level 111, they have 105 hit points, they currently reside in 3 different locations including the Ogre Enclave, Taverley Dungeon, and Mythskill Dungeon. They attack with 2 different styles including a melee attack and a dragonfire attack. Its melee attacks can hit up to 10s, and using the Protect from Melee prayer will completely protect you from these attacks. Their Dragonfire Breath on the other hand can hit up to 50s, but if you wear an anti-dragon shield or a Dragonfire shield, and also drink a dose of anti-fire or extended anti-fire, it will give you full Dragonfire protection, and you'll take no damage whatsoever from this attack. A more expensive option is to drink a super anti-fire potion or an extended super anti-fire potion, and this will also give you full Dragonfire protection without needing to wear an anti-dragon shield, giving you the option of using something else in the shield slot, such as the Dragon Defender. If you don't have access to anti-fires, wearing just the anti-dragon shield by itself will make the max hit of the Dragonfire Breath to only 5 damage. Lastly, these monsters are aggressive, and their main weaknesses are stab weapons, magic attacks, range attacks, and Dragonbane weapons such as the Dragon Hunter Lance and the Dragon Hunter Crossbow. And briefly going over the Slayer info, they give 107.6 Slayer XP per kill. They can be assigned by 5 different Slayer Masters. Their combat and aggressive stats indicate that they are relatively strong and are capable of hitting somewhat frequently, and since they use a melee slash attack, wearing good slash defensive armor will help to minimize the damage taken by this monster's attacks significantly, or like I said before, you won't take any damage whatsoever from the melee attacks if you activate or flick on the Protect from Melee prayer. In terms of the monster's defensive stats, you can see that it has the least amount of protection from stab attacks, magic attacks, and range attacks, but it is still highly plausible to use slash or crush weapons to kill these monsters. And taking a look at the other bonuses for this monster, it doesn't have any, and in terms of its immunities, it is not immune to poison or venom attacks, so using weapons such as the poison daggers, the toxic blowpipe, or the toxic trident will provide you with extra damage for killing these monsters. So here are some items that I will recommend to you that may help you on your Slayer task. The Soul Bearer is an excellent item to bring here because these monsters drop a lot of insult heads, and this item allows you to send these insult heads straight to the bank, saving you lots of inventory space during your Slayer task. The Soul Bearer mini quest only takes like 5 minutes to do, and I already made a guide on how to get this item which I will link in the description box below. One of the most useful items for doing Slayer is the Dwarf Multi-Cannon, and after you have finished the Dwarf Cannon quest, you can buy this item from the Grand Exchange, along with the cannonballs, or if you're an Iron Man, you can also buy from Nickelodeon, who's located west of Edgeville in the hut near the Dwarven Mine, and he'll also provide you with an ammo mold for making cannonballs. This monster drops a lot of herbs, so bringing a herb sack with you can save a lot of inventory space. It can store 30 of any grimy herb, and to get it, you can buy it from the Slayer shop for 750 points, along with having level 58 in herb lore. So now we will go over the armor setups, and feel free to use the timestamps on the screen now to choose your preferred armor setup. So let's talk about a melee setup that maximizes your attack, strength, and prayer bonuses. On this chart here, I've highlighted some of the best armor choices in green on the left hand side, and the items to the right are also very good alternatives for this setup. So using the chart that I made, I created a couple of different example armor setups for both higher and lower level players. Feel free to use it as a reference for building your own setup, and don't be afraid to swap things out depending on your needs. So let's go over a ranging setup, and on this chart here, I've listed the best items that you can wear from the left to the right. All of the items highlighted in green are the items that I would recommend that you try to focus on because they provide very good bonuses for killing this monster. So using the chart that I made, I created a couple of different example armor setups for both higher and lower level players. Feel free to use it as a reference for building your own setup, and don't be afraid to swap things out depending on your needs. So now let's talk about a magic setup, and on this chart here, I've highlighted some of the best armor choices in green on the left hand side, and the items to the right are also very good alternatives that you can use for this setup. In terms of the spell that you want to cast, you can either use a normal spellbook or ancient magics. You also have the option of using a toxic trident requiring level 75 magic to use, and this weapon can hit up to 48s for about 500 coins a cast. The Staff of the Dead, requiring level 75 magic and attack to use, can boost a player's magic damage by 15% for any combat spell, as well as giving you a 1 in 8 chance of not using the runes when you cast the spell. The Slayer Staff Enchanted, requiring level 75 magic and 55 Slayer to wield, increases the damage of the magic dart spell when attacking a Slayer monster the player is assigned to kill. This spell can hit up to 41s for only about 200 coins a cast. The upgraded Ivan Staff is an excellent item for lower level players, requiring level 50 magic and attack to wield, along with the completion of the Underground Pass quest. The Ivan's Blast spell can hit up to 30s while wearing the correct armor, and it only costs about 200 coins a cast. If those are not options, you can always use the normal spellbook spells, and if you complete the Family Crest quest, you'll have access to Chaos Gauntlets, which increases the damage of bolt spells by 3. And if you have level 30 magic and attack, you can use a combination staff, which will provide you with an unlimited amount of 2 of the basic elemental runes, saving you some extra cash in the long run. So using the chart that I made, I created a couple of different example armor setups for both higher and lower level players. Feel free to use it as a reference for building your own setup, and don't be afraid to swap things out depending on your needs. So hopefully by now, you have chosen the armor that you're going to wear for the Slayer task. In this next section, I'll be covering each of the locations, what you should bring in your inventory, and I'll also give you guys an example kill depending on the attack style that you've chosen. So going over the Ogre Enclave location, this spot is pretty decent for both meleeers and people looking to safe spot blue dragons with range and magic. Although you are allowed to use a cannon here, I wouldn't recommend it because there are skeletons and ogres scattered all around the enclave. The fastest way to get here is by getting yourself to the Yanil house portal, and you can do that by moving your house to Yanil and exiting your house portal, or you can make yourself a Yanil house tab by using a scroll of redirection that you get from Nightmare Zone on a teleport to house tablet, requiring level 50 construction to make. The next fastest option is by using the variant code CIQ and then running south to the enclave. The third fastest way is by using a Ring of Dueling teleport to Castle Wars and then running east. If that is not an option, you can also use the Watchtower teleport, running through Yanil and then running southwest to the enclave. So here's what I would bring in my inventory for each attack style, and you can copy it completely or you can change it depending on your needs. Same with the quick prayer settings, here would be the settings I would choose, but if you want to change them, feel free to do so. So let's start off by doing a melee example. So before going into the cave, you can just drink a dose of your extended anti-fire potion as well as your stat boosting potions, and if you want, you can also turn on your quick prayers before going in, and when you try to enter the dungeon, just select the first option saying that I'm not scared, and then you'll be placed inside the dungeon. And there are many blue dragons around the area, and my favorite blue dragon spot is located on the western side, and there are 2 dragons there that you can kill. Just make sure when you start killing them to have the stab option selected on your weapon if you have it, so you can kill them faster. You can also turn on auto retaliate, and then you can just watch your prayer points when they run low. Now I'll show you guys an example of how I safe spot blue dragons with either range or magic. So before going into the dungeon, you can drink a dose of your extended anti-fire. You can also drink your stat boosting potions, and you should also wield your anti-dragon shield and activate your protect from melee prayer before going in. And when you try to enter the dungeon, just select the first option that you're not scared and you'll be placed inside the dungeon. So my favorite safe spot location is on the western side of the enclave, and you'll see a small mushroom on the floor near the blue dragon in which you can kind of maneuver around it to safe spot it. But if you want a safer safe spot, you can run a little bit northeast near the big stalagmite, and you can get the dragon stuck like 100% of the time like what I'm doing here. You can go ahead and wield your weapon, turn off your protect from melee prayer, activate your quick prayers if you're using range, and then you can just attack the blue dragon. If you want to pick up the loot without taking any damage, you just wear your anti-dragon shield and turn on your protect from melee prayer, and when you pick up all the loot, you can just go ahead and run back to the safe spot, wield your weapon, turn off your protect from melee prayer, and then just start attacking the dragon again. Going over the Taverley Dungeon location, this spot is very popular because you can use your dwarf cannon here, and there are safe spots that you can use. The fastest way to get here is by getting yourself to the Taverley house portal and then running south, and you can do that by moving your house to Taverley and then exiting your house portal, or you could also make yourself a Taverley house tablet by using a scroll of redirection that you get from Nightmare Zone on a house tablet requiring level 10 construction to make. If you can't do that, the next fastest way is to teleport yourself to Falador and then running west to the dungeon entrance. And taking a look inside the dungeon, there are actually a couple of different ways to get to the blue dragons. If you are on a Slayer task and also have 70 agility or 65 with the Summer Pie boost, there is a shortcut you can take on the eastern wall, which will bring you directly to the upper level Blue Dragons. If you're not on a Slayer task, you can also use the Blue Dragons room located in the center of the dungeon. If you have level 70 agility or 65 with a Summer Pie boost, you can use the pipe shortcut right next to the entrance to enter the Blue Dragons room. If you don't have the agility level to use that shortcut, you will need a dusty key to unlock the gate in the Lesser Demons room. To get the dusty key, and you can do this after you have everything set up, is to follow the path shown here until you get to the eastern side of the Black Knight's base. You'll find an NPC called the Jailer, and you want to kill him to get the jail key, and then you can use the jail key on the southern gate to talk to Velrak the Explorer. Select the first option if there's anything to explore in the dungeon, select the first option again, yes please, and he'll give you the dusty key. Once you have the dusty key, you can take the path shown here to get to the gate, which you can unlock. If you're running through the dungeon, there's an agility shortcut on the northeastern part of the Lesser Demons room, requiring level 63 agility to use, or 58 with a Summer Pie boost. If you cannot use that agility shortcut, you can keep running through past the magic axes, the poisonous scorpions, and the chaos dwarves until you reach the Lesser Demons room, and then you can use your dusty key on the gate on the western wall to unlock it. So here's what I would bring in my inventory for each attack style, and you can copy it completely, or you can change it depending on your needs. Same with the quick prayer settings, here would be the settings I would choose, but if you want to change them, feel free to do so. So here's an example of how I traverse the dungeon the long way to the Blue Dragons, and you can also use the timestamps on the screen now to skip to the example kills and my favorite spots to kill the monster depending on the attack style. So before you climb down, you can drink a dose of your stamina potion, and you can just follow my path to get to the Blue Dragon room. So if you're using a melee setup, you can go ahead and drink a dose of your anti-fire potion as well as your stat boosting potions, and you can activate your quick prayers as well. And then my favorite spot is located in the southern room where there are a lot of normal blue dragons. I've highlighted on the floor as well for where I like to drop down my cannon. Just make sure that the cannon is firing by clicking on it, and make sure to also have the stab option selected on your weapon if it's available, have your auto retaliate on, and just watch your health and prayer points. So if you're using ranger magic to safe spot the blue dragons, I'll show you guys my favorite spot for where you can also use your cannon. So before running in, you can wield your anti-dragon shield, drink a dose of your anti-fire potion, turn on your protect from melee prayer, and then run to the southern room with a giant stalagmite. I highlighted on the floor where the safe spot is and where I like to set up my cannon, and setting up the cannon there allows me to fill the cannon with cannonballs without leaving the safe spot. Once it is set up, you can go back to the safe spot, click the cannon so it starts firing cannonballs, you can drink a dose of your stat boosting potions, disable your protect from melee prayer, wield your weapon, turn on your quick prayers, and then start attacking the blue dragons. When you need to pick up the loot, you can just wield your anti-dragon shield, turn on your protect from melee prayer, and this will make you completely safe while you loot the stuff on the floor. When you're done looting, just run back to the safe spot, turn off your protect from melee prayer, wield your weapon again, and then just continue killing the dragons. Now let's go over the dungeon at Myth's Guild, and this spot is really good because you can use your cannon here, and there are safe spots available. However, in order to use this dungeon, you must have completed Dragon Slayer 2. The fastest way of getting here is by using the teleport on your mythical cape, and that will bring you right outside the dungeon entrance. You can get this cape from Jack at the top floor of the Myths Guild for 10,000 coins. The next fastest way is by using a spirit tree to felled up hills, and then running west to the Myths Guild dungeon. So here's what I would bring in my inventory for each attack style, and you can copy it completely, or you can change it depending on your needs. Same with the quick prayer settings, here would be the settings I would choose, but if you want to change them, feel free to do so. So let's start off by doing a melee example. So before going into the dungeon, just drink a dose of your extended anti-fire potion, as well as your stat boosting potions, and also turn on your quick prayers, and when you've done all that, you can enter the dungeon by clicking on the statue. So I'll show you guys my favorite spot and where I like to drop down my cannon, and I usually like to use the southwestern area where there are a lot more blue dragons. So just drop down your cannon somewhere in the area, make sure it's firing by clicking on it, make sure to turn on the stab option on your weapon if you can, and also make sure to have your auto retaliate on. If you're using range or magic to safe spot them, you can go ahead and wield your anti-dragon shield, drink a dose of your anti-fire potion, and turn on your protect from melee prayer before climbing down. When you come down here, I'll show you guys the safe spot that I use as well as where I like to drop down my cannon. So I use the safe spot on the western wall, and you can see where I also like to drop down my cannon. Just make sure that the cannon is firing by clicking on it, and then you can run back to the safe spot on the wall. You can go ahead and wield your weapon, drink your stat boosting potions, turn off your protect from melee prayer, and then turn on your quick prayers, and then just attack the blue dragons. When you need to pick up the loot, just wield your anti-dragon shield, turn on your protect from melee prayer, and this will make you completely safe while you loot the stuff on the floor. When you're done looting, just run back to the safe spot, turn off your protect from melee prayer, wield your weapon, and then just continue killing the dragons. Anyways guys, I'm gonna end the tutorial here. If it has helped you out, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave a like on this video so more people can find it, and also make sure to check out my other Slayer guides in the description box below. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later!